How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. It is a tough day. It's a tough week. It's going to be a tough rest of the season here in Bengals Nation, with Joe Burrow missing the rest of the season due to a torn ligament in his wrist. There's a lot of talk now. What is next for the Cincinnati Bengals team? Is there optimism to say, hey, they can win this game? Are they going to go after a veteran quarterback? Are they just going to ride this out? Fact of the matter is, I think here, the Cincinnati, probably don't want to hear it. Maybe you do want to hear it. At this point, maybe you do want to hear it. Fact of the matter is, the Bengals are a 500 football team right now. They're 5-5. You'd have to win every game but two the rest of the season, go 10-7. The defense has been giving up some points. The offense, without Joe Burrow, under Zach Taylor, has frankly not had this team without Joe Burrow, with Zach Taylor, frankly has not had a pulse in the 3 years he's had the opportunity to coach this team. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, 2 years. Doesn't matter. Because it was a year Burrow missed with the half that season he missed the ACL. We've seen him get the draft pick to get Joe Burrow the year prior when he didn't have a quarterback, or he's rotating through a quarterback, we should say. And I don't like saying it, but this team's going to play one of the toughest schedules. They might have the toughest schedule remainder of the season. They play every team 500 or better in the rest of their schedule. And this team, frankly, might lose every single one of them. I truly believe that. I think they can go 5-0. I think they can go 5-12. 6-11 might be best case scenario. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, you go 5-12. You're getting a top 5 draft pick. You're getting a top 5 draft pick. Lots of teams love the quarterback. All of a sudden, could it be reality? Could it be a reality? We're trying to look bright side of a horrible situation right now. Could it be a reality? Because teams love their quarterbacks. Could it be a reality that Cincinnati Bengals could potentially be looking at a Jamar Chase and Marvin Harrison Jr.? Whew. You're talking two potential future Hall of Famers out wide on the Cincinnati Bengals, and you'd have this guy under contract for 4 to 5 years. You know they're going to lock down Jamar. And you have this guy under contract for 5 years. Could you imagine the madness? Could you imagine what goes on in this league? The Cincinnati Bengals had Marvin Harrison Jr. Wow. Nonetheless, it does open the door for a lot of opportunity for the Bengals. All of a sudden, the Bengals have a real chance, something that, they haven't had in a few years, because Joe Burrow and his football team will win a lot of football games. They have a real chance to get an elite top player in the trenches. Whether it be a guard, whether it be a tackle if Jonah leaves, whether it be, again, this league depends and this is something that's so important with the Bengals, that it does help Burrow. As you improve that offense, you get the best offensive freaking line you possibly can for this guy. And you allow this guy to just work back there and not have to feel like he needs to scramble and run for his life and make the plays, because he is still doing that. Or, on the flip side, the defense, you get that closer, if you will, on the defensive side of the ball that the Bengals have been lacking. It is so important. Yes, our team's beatable even with them, absolutely, but it doesn't make such a difference for your quarterbacks. Cam Taylor-Bird is having an outstanding season. He's playing outstanding. It'll help out your safeties. It'll help out everybody out in that defense. If you can just get a Bosa or a TJ Watt type of player in the trenches. And the Bengals now feel like they're going to have that. I feel like they're going to have that. Something's going to fall. Because you're going to see a couple, especially with Caleb Williams coming, you're going to see a couple quarterbacks taken early. You're going to see Marvin Harrison taken early. Somebody's going to fall. You're going to get an elite offensive line. You're going to need an elite defensive line. But somebody's going to fall in that range. And the Bengals, that is the side of optimism here. What's tough is just looking and saying, hey, this felt like a Bengals season. You had T. Higgins. It was contract years for everybody. Our guys are due to get paid, we should say. And now all of a sudden, this year's out the window. Now, I can't imagine Burrow would come back. It's early in the reports. But you'd say, hey, could he possibly come back and the Bengals make playoffs? But again, the Bengals would have to go 5 and it's not even a bad 5-2. I have a hard time seeing them doing that. They'd be lucky. I think they go 3-4. 3-4 is not going to do it. I'd be an 8-9 football team. But aside from the potential of him coming back this season, it does feel like, hey, this could be this season's kind of in the books. Tough too, because it comes after the trade deadline. I mean, you don't ever wish it. That's the thing. We're trying to look at the positives, but there's no positive to this, because at the end of the day, you never want to see Joe Burrow hurt. You never want to see your franchise player go down with an injury. But it's like, hey, for the deadline, PJ Reed or T Higgins, some of these pieces the Bengals could have moved. They weren't going to re-sign them for some draft picks. That would have been huge additions to this team moving forward. But you never play like that. You can't play scared. You can't project an injury on a guy. You don't want an injury on a guy. Nonetheless, going to give this Bengals team a chance to kind of retool. I mean, now I think you got a chance to give these young guys these young draft picks a real chance to play. Now that the season's, you feel like it is what it is. Battle should have already been playing. Let them play some more. Let them play every single snap out there. Let these young safeties get that experience. This is your dynamic duo for a long time in the secondary. Let these guys figure things out. Miles Murphy, let this guy play some more. You got some banged up on defensive line. He might have to play more anyway. BJ Hill with that injury earlier in the game. But let this guy play. You got Hendrickson's been banged up, Hubbard's been banged up. Let these young guys play, try to get some reps in. That way they're prepared for the future. And, Lou's a smart man. He's probably going to find a way to make sure these guys are incorporated more, especially when the games, get a little bit more, if the games get a little bit more out of hand late. I think this is an interesting one. I think that the Bengals finish this season with Joe Burrow under center. The Lou interim has to be gone. He has to be. It was hard to believe he didn't get a head coaching job last season. And when we say just to be clear, when we say has to be gone, he has to be gone to get a head coaching job somewhere because of how phenomenal of a coach he is. But now that the Bengals are 5-5, you consider another coach comes, their defense is going to give them a lot of points. Just because their offense won't go on the field. Your football team finishes 5-12, 6-12, 6-11, 5-12. You have to wonder 7-10. You have to wonder if this football team or other football teams look at this Bengals defense that gets torn apart in the second half and says all of a sudden, hold on, pump the brakes. I don't know if we're interested in this defensive coordinator anymore. Now, I just don't think the Bengals defense is built like the New York Jets, where they can carry the load like that all game. We've seen that now time and time again. This team is, and why they're a Super Bowl team, they play very, very, very complementary football, where if the offense is slowing down, the defense picks them up, or the defense is slowing down, the offense picks them up, the special teams they all make plays. But when one of them is slacking and struggling the entire game, and they can't even structure or put together drives, it wears your defense down. It makes things tough. It makes them hard to stop the run and everything else. And we're going to see that more often now. And you have to wonder if teams around the league say, hey, hold on a second. Do they have the short-term memory and say, hold on a second, we ain't really interested in Lou anymore. And that's music to a Bengals fan's ears. Because I think that was one of the big things about this being the year for the Bengals, is saying, hey, you lose Lou in a room, all of a sudden this defense, hey, you don't know where the direction is. You lose T. Higgins, you don't know where the direction is. But now you get a higher draft pick, you keep Lou for another year, and you say, hey, you know what? I know Joe Burrow's got the abilities to work with Jamar Chase and company and make things work. You protect this guy. You get the chance to protect this guy. You get a chance to get a game record on defense, something the Bengals were not going to have the chance to do with Joe Burrow as your quarterback. And now all of a sudden the Bengals have a chance to add that one more additional game record potentially, that game-changing player. If they can hit on the draft this season, that can be another cornerstone to this offense for the next decade, or defense for the next decade. And that's got to be the optimistic view here, I think, and you have to just be hopeful. The Bengals, you hope for the best moving forward. You're looking to the future here now as a Bengals fan. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.